Happy New Year and welcome back to ABC Bullion's 360 weekly wrap. My name is Crystal Thivios and I'm joined by Global General Manager at ABC Bullion, Nick Frappel.
Hello, Crystal.
Hi, how are you going?
Very well, thank you.
That's good. Nick, last week the world was transfixed by scenes of a seditious mob attacking the Capitol.
Yeah.
And this week we're seeing Donald Trump up for a second impeachment, the first American president in history to be up for this.
Yeah. Yes.
What effect have these events had on our precious metals?
Well, to some extent, the main thing that happened last week in terms of the precious market was that as news of the Georgia runoff going to the Democrats and, of course, the certification of President-elect Biden, we saw a big pop in bond yields, and that was bad for gold. So Thursday, bond prices went down, yields went sharply up, and you saw the beginnings of gold starting to go into a full-scale retreat.
Yeah.
Then after that, you started to see, we got pretty good employment numbers in America on Friday, and that was definitely a boost to the dollar, which gave another headwind to gold. And then we saw basically after that incredible moment at the Capitol, we saw the Donald Trump very quickly say that he would go for a smooth transition. And I think after that sort of public capitulation, if there was a bid under gold that was based on political risk and uncertainty, that bid quickly disappeared. So you had those three things coming together: really rapid drop in gold, plummeting down to sort of 1820s. We've now sort of found a little bit of support there. It looks like a dip to buy. So as far above 1825, I think you might see a recovery to sort of the 1868, 1871 level.
Okay, brilliant.
One thing on the technical side is that the actual recovery, the point at which gold stopped and went back, sort of fueled by that yield news, was a really key Fibonacci retracement. So technically, it kind of the rebound played out, hit a really key resistance, fell away.
Okay, amazing. And what is the longer term outlook for gold?
Well, that's really interesting because this year, I mean, one doesn't want to sort of pin the tail to the donkey, in January that early. But look, the macro picture for gold is still positive. We've got all these issues, coronavirus, how quickly growth is going to reassert itself. Vaccines are here, but that'll take time to play out.
Yeah.
So I'm positive, but one of the sort of dilemmas, if you like, in the asset markets are just, is that rise in bond yields going to be an issue throughout the year? The 10-year bonds look like they'll move to, say, a yield of perhaps 120, perhaps maybe an extremist 144, but there's fairly good resistance at 120, and I still think the important things in place, lower natural rates for longer, still matter. So that's positive for gold, even if you'll have this sort of volatility that's induced by the bond market. So in terms of where prices could go in US dollar terms, if you look at the really long-term point and figure charts, we've got targets to 2300, 2700, 2750. And those targets are really robust in the sense that the gold price could drop back quite a long way before they're knocked out or invalidated. Furthermore, a very good friend of mine in the market who's actually more of a pattern charter, pretty strong at that. They've mentioned last week that they saw really strong evidence of a cup-shaped pattern in the market, and that would definitely support the 2700. So there's actually scope for quite large moves higher, but it's going to be interesting to see how that yield argument works out.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to mention is the US dollar, because US dollar obviously is perceived as something that's going to weaken this year. It clearly weakened after December. It broke down through that really important trend line support. Now, it's recovering a bit, and I think that's quite natural because you've got to look at the really big picture is that the recent lows were very close to, I think, the February 2018 lows. That was well supported. So the market's, probably looking at that and saying, perhaps that's a good level to buy or buy back. If you look at net positioning in the dollar index, it's as low as it's been in almost a decade. So although the shorts aren't huge, if you look at the combination of shorts and longs, net positioning there is very weak. And if you look at the recent, last week's RSI, relative strength indicator, that was definitely oversold. So given that we had that big breakdown, it wouldn't surprise me if just as that test after we've moved down, test the recent support levels, and then most likely resume that expected dollar decline. So again, that would be positive for gold looking through 2021.
Brilliant. We're going to have to see how it all plays out.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
did these events have a similar impact on silver?
Well, silver, actually did have a sort of, period of underperformance. I think, got support at 23.5, 24 in US dollar terms. But like gold, it's got a similar sort of macro positive picture. Target-wise, I'd say 33 US dollars and 35 US dollars is certainly quite reasonable this year.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's positive. I think in the short term, what you saw in terms of the relative value of gold and silver went to about 70. It struggles at that level. Sure enough, it's weakened again. The other thing with silver, which might be a little bit different, and different sort of argument or a different narrative to gold, is that if you see economies pick up after, particularly post sort of vaccination, then you might actually see silver getting a particular bid there because it's got that more industrial character as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
And to finish, the AUD.
AUD has been doing so well. I mean, good commodity strength. I was wrong to say that, I expected weakness once it printed 76. I thought it would turn around. It's actually done better than that. And not only that, but actually it's knocked out that trend line resistance. And now, it may fall again, but it's now got a much more positive setup than it did before. Saying that, it has got quite a few shorts. Non-commercial shorts are as active as they've ever been position-wise. Longs too, so certainly some bullish players in there who are willing to stay in, but you're seeing non-commercial shorts beginning to build those positions. So we'll have to see where iron ore goes. That's obviously one of the big factors. Have to see where China goes. But it's definitely sort of outperformed from my initial estimates.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nick. Definitely an interesting start to 2021.
Really looking forward to 2021. Hopefully it's a better year for for us and all of the viewers than perhaps last year.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And thank you so much for tuning in. For more from ABC Bullion 360, please follow us on our socials at ABC Bullion or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until then, happy trading at abcbullion.com. Thank you.